my money.
When will they stop?
Well now, Long Beach, clear skies.
And now, on with the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
And?
Hello.
And? There I am. What happened to my microphone? The only one that wasn't working.
Right in front of you.
I tested all of them, didn't I? Right
you
before
did,
we started?
You did.
The only one I didn't test was mine.
It's the magic of radio.
Welcome to Mornings on the Beach, your Saturday, Sunday infotainment, I like to say, because we just have fun. We have a good time. I'm Danny Lemos.
I'm Mike Stark.
Melanie Ray.
And on the show today, Long Beach Yo-Yos. Oh, no. This is for Long Beach yo-yo players.
Oh.
There's going to be an event coming up. If you're into competitive yo-yoing, we're going to have a guest on the show tell you all about it.
I thought you were talking about us for a second.
Yeah, room full of yo-yos.
KFI radio vet Mo Kelly will tell us his prognosis on the future of radio.
I love it. We're the only show on this radio station that talks about radio.
Yeah.
It's important. And Melanie?
Oh, and I asked Kate Raphael here to keep us posted on a bunch of big stories I saw in Long Beach Unified.
And they just keep coming out.
They
because
just
we
keep
even
coming.
discussed a couple we're going to throw at you, softballs.
There's a new one this morning I'm mad about.
Okay, good. Get ready.
The one I saw, I'm not mad about. I'm going to make fun of.
Oh, okay, good. So
She wants to,
Kate's going to have a
get
good
to
time
the bottom
here.
of some of these stories.
Yeah,
Really good.
I want the number actually.
And back with us again for a second week, Barbara Kingsley-Wilson from the journalism department over at CSULB. Though she's not representing the department, she's representing herself because she wants to get a show here on the station. We'd love to have you be a part of it. And so we're going to put you right to work. Right at the very top of the show, doing a quick little news roundup.
Congressman Robert Garcia announced that Long Beach Airport was awarded $27 million in federal funding to reconstruct one of its taxiways. The 550,000 square foot stretch of pavement that runs parallel to LGB's shortest runway, known as Taxiway F, was nearing the end of its useful life, according to airport spokesperson Derek Lee. A taxiway is a paved path that airplanes use to connect to runways, to terminals, hangars, and parking areas. Planes do not use them to take off. Taxiways aside, a $37 million overhaul of the airport's concourses and 11 gateways is already underway and slated for completion in 2027. A street vendor selling ice cream near Belmont Pier July 4th says he was attacked in Long Beach. Long Beach police say they are investigating a GoFundMe has been set up for Eliu Ramirez. Lastly, a slew of new California laws went into effect July 1st. One regulates just how loud commercials can be on video streaming platforms. Another requires restaurant chains with 20 or more locations in the state to clearly list, either directly on their menus or in a digital format, what items served contain any of the big 9 food allergens, those being milk, eggs, peanuts, tree nuts, fish, shellfish, wheat, soybeans, and sesame. Also, I have a call into Long Beach PD to ask about if any citations were given for illegal fireworks over the holiday. So waiting to hear on that and hope to have more information next week.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Cool.
And yeah, I wonder.
I laugh at the citations because this was the loudest 4th of July I can ever remember.
Yeah. And I also think that it's one of those things where if you're going to go into a restaurant, you have enough to do already. Now we have to read all these things.
Yeah.
Be careful. But I guess it's all good in keeping things the way they should be. Anyway. To the conversation and to our first guest. Why don't you go ahead and bring her on in?
All right. You know, I'm an, I like to say, experienced teacher. So I notice all the education stories coming in, and I've been wanting to have Kate here for a while to ask her about a story a long time ago, and then I caught a couple other ones that I wanted to know about. So I want to welcome Kate Raphael here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
You know, and the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about before were the layoffs. Huge layoffs.
Huge layoffs.
What happened there?
Well, unfortunately, this is happening all over California, but in Long Beach, like many other large urban districts, we're just seeing greater costs that are, outpacing the revenue that's coming in. There were temporary funds that came in during COVID from both the federal government and the state. Those have expired, and Long Beach is losing enrollment, and money is allocated by the number of, kids in chairs, and so roughly. And so when the numbers are dropping, the district loses money, and there just is not enough to go around. And unfortunately, staff members are often cut, but programs have been cut as well.
So what kinds of programs?
Mental health services. That's a big one. Some of that was funded by those state and federal dollars that came in during the pandemic. But other positions that support students. So certificated teachers were laid off as well.
Now I read that there were about 500.
So that's the number of notifications that were sent out to people telling them they kind of might be on the chopping block. Some of those folks were called back. But not all of them. Some of them were laid off, and those were people who were on what we call temporary or special contracts, so not permanent staff members, but still people many of them are doing the same job that teachers are in the classroom. They just aren't as protected as teachers who have a permanent contract.
Right, because my first thought when I read that was at that point the number was 500, and I thought, well, that's just not safe. Right, it's not safe for teachers, and it's not safe for students. And then I read the next article, which was about exactly that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I worked on this story for months where we found out, I heard from teachers in the classroom who were telling me about experiences that they were having where the classrooms were not safe. They were not able to have the amount of support in the classroom that they needed to meet students' needs and create a learning environment where they can actually, deliver the education that that is their job and that children deserve. And so this is a huge problem where more support is needed than the district is really able to afford, and those costs are also increasing. So bringing aides into the classroom, bringing other people who have the training to support kids, to make sure that that they are getting the educational experience that they need, and making sure that the classroom environment is safe is incredibly costly, and that need is not being met, and as a result, teachers are sustaining injuries. So I reviewed about 800 workers' compensation data from 800 workers' compensation claims, and found that the number of severe injuries that teachers are sustaining has been increasing, which should concern all of us. I'll also just say, the teachers that I talked to spoke with so much compassion about their students, and they underscored that behaviors are a form of communication, and they are not intentional injuries, and yet the lack of support in the classroom is contributing to these safety concerns.
Wow. And with some of the shortfalls that we're meeting because of some of the pandemic money that California's lost, the governor's been digging into his wallet, but maybe it's getting a little thin in there. Is there any chance that there'd be some sort of salvation from another fund? They could move the money from whatever, another...
It's a good question. And I think folks in the district are definitely grappling with these issues. I think the money that we got from the state in the May revise was a little bit higher than the district was expecting. So that's good news. It means the deficit is going to be a little bit smaller than they were expecting. It's still kind of the same problem persists where costs are outpacing revenue. So, the school board members have said more cuts are coming next year. We should expect that there are going to be some kind of painful decisions. And probably that means more certificated staff members are going to lose their jobs. But I think it's not something anybody wants. And I think there are definitely people who are seeking more solutions. But you're right that we're gonna unfortunately probably have some more bad news coming.
It is. And if the news is that teachers are being injured, and now we're just going to have fewer teachers, which means a higher student-to-teacher ratio. And every teacher will tell you that COVID really messed kids up. Right. Every teacher will tell you that it never really came back.
Is that what you can attribute the shorter attention spans to? I think that must be so tough.
Absolutely. Well, that and just regular behavior. So if you consider a kid who was in first grade when the schools shut down, so they don't have much school experience, and then maybe they have a family that isn't enriching or providing that kind of structure. So they've had very little school experience. They go out on shutdown and they miss the next year and a half of school. They're staring into a computer. So I had teachers who said that the younger kids didn't even know when they were talking out loud because they would respond to the teacher into the computer on mute.
Of course.
right? Teacher would say, blah, 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 what's 2 and 2? And all the kids would say 4 into a muted computer. And now there are some kids that can't code switch from like, oh, now I'm in a room of other children, so I shouldn't use my voice every time. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
just that kind of basic understanding that happens in a classroom, that you're the way you're socialized in a classroom, that you're not on COVID, or on a computer. And then some of these kids, that was their first school experience. Right, or their early school experiences, and then of course there's a million variables. What were they going through at home? I had kids during COVID that lived in terrible situations that only ate when they were in school. I think were only cared for in school, and now I was looking into their homes and watching cockroaches cross the walls on the screens behind them, and watching that truly no one in the house, supports them. So a lot of them went back to environments like that for 2 years. And then came out. With
so many problems in the world, you'd think that we'd care for our children first.
You'd think.
Wow, because that's the next generation.
Well, and I know, and one of the frustrating things was that the feds and the states did give all the school districts money for learning loss during COVID, and they, in my experience, used that money to buy curriculum, which wasn't what we needed. Right. We didn't need a new $1 million curriculum that the teachers then had to learn and implement and blah, blah, blah. We needed more people. Right. We needed counselors, teachers, therapists. We needed all that kind of stuff. And year after year, the schools say, what do you need to meet standards? Right. And every teacher says, smaller class size. And they all go, other than that.
Kate, do you know if the school officials see any hope down the road as far as demographics? Sometimes because they can see, things are bad now, but then they see preschoolers and others in the wake. Do they know anything about that yet?
In terms of projecting enrollment, unfortunately, the trend is looking like it's going to keep going down. Next year is the first year Long Beach Unified is projected to be below 60,000 students, which is a pretty significant threshold to drop below.
Wow.
Well, I think during COVID, too, a lot of families realized, they can go to school online, so we'll just do that. I think a lot of kids left the school system during COVID because of a variety of reasons.
We saw it in college, too, where it was kind of a different kind of thing as far as there was a bubble that went through, kind of the mice. What is it? The animal through the snake kind of keeps coming, keeps coming through in the different generations, and it was attention span and thinking, school's sort of optional kind of thing, because so much was canceled during COVID, It was that kind of thinking. And students are kind of coming around, and it was rougher for a while, but we still see it as far as socialization and stuff like that. I was going to ask too, as far as the budget stuff is there any talk about closing schools and stuff like that, or is that like the nuclear option? They're not.
That's a good question. So one school, Hoover, is being kind of repurposed as the dual immersion campus, and so students are going to be shuffled to go there to have that be the hub for dual immersion for middle schools, and it's going to be under renovation for the next couple of years until it reopens. I think people are not wanting to talk about closing campuses, but I think it is part of the conversation. Wow. But I think nobody wants to see that.
Listen, if you have a chance to stick around, we want to get to a couple other stories on the other side of the song. I'd love to talk about them. There's some other stories that you've written, and also some other stories that I brought to the table, including one regarding what happened when a professor decided to have in-person final exams. This is a great story. That's coming up.
All right, let's get into some music. Brand new music from Lenny Kaye. Lenny is Patti Smith's guitarist and the keeper of the Nuggets for garage rock. He's the guy that developed the Nuggets series for Rhino Records. Lenny Kaye and a song called Goin' Local.
If you said Nuggets one more time, we were going to have all kinds of laughs.
I know. I was so mature right then.
It's mornings on the beach. I'm just saying, if we said the word Nuggets one more time, boy, we were going to take off for another half hour. It's great.
Keeper of the Nuggets.
Yeah, it's right here. Hey, I'm Danny Lemos.
I'm Mike Stark.
I'm Melanie Ray.
And in studio with us, we also have
Kate Raphael.
And
Barbara Kingsley-Wilson.
And I wanted to get to, we're talking education just on the other side of the song, but I also wanted to get to the story that I found, and this regards an economics professor at Brown University named Robert Serrano. Have you heard about this story?
I don't think so.
Well, what he did was he saw his midterm exams at about 89% had nearly a perfect exam at 90 or above, right? And he said, "No, something this doesn't sound right to me."
Yeah.
Especially economics. So before that, he announced that his classes could take their exams online at home. So guess what happened to enrollment to his classes? Boo! He said normally 8 students, he had like 45 sign up. All right. So he gets to seeing those scores and thinks, I want to do something different with my final. So he announces that he's changing the rules. Finals have to be taken in person. And then he's going to weigh them against their scores. And if they come up average, then he's going to accept the midterm scores. If not, he's going to scuttle them and base his grades on the final exam. What do you think happened?
Well, I suspect there was a drop.
Yeah, quite a significant drop. So most of the students averaged around 68%, as opposed to 98% that they were doing, or 100%. Like 12 students got 100% on their midterm exam. No. So he decided that, and it became a scandal at the school. But it's
cheating.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And that came up because this past week when our president
is a
cheated
cheater
at sports, right, in front of the world.
Uh-huh.
So now
that's okay.
Yeah, there you go. So I wanted to bring that up because I thought, really, and how do you guard against it? Obviously, everybody's using it for everything from finding out how to take care of home repairs to answering their questions. And, do you see in exams that students are using that as much as?
I don't have a lot of exams in my classes. It's more projects. But yeah, we have to keep an eye out. It's getting harder and harder because even things like Grammarly, are more aggressively AI-ish, But also some instructors are going back to blue books.
Yeah.
There you go.
They're going the old-fashioned way.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to my daughter went to Renaissance, and I went to her open house, and the teacher there, was younger than me, and I hate that all those teachers are younger than me. But anyway, he holds up a composition book, and he like proudly, like he invented it. My students will use this. I was like, oh, a composition book. How cutting edge. But that's what you're going to have to do is watch them write.
I still shiver when I see those black and white notebooks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anybody
that's
else,
what it
I
is.
still go, oh, God.
I shivered when she said blue books. They're old enough that I remember.
A Scantron. Scantrons.
Well, let's see. This other story that just landed, and we always talk about the stories that other stations won't. And this one I found interesting. What would you imagine would happen if you got an invitation to Taylor Swift's wedding? Right?
I wouldn't know what to wear.
Well, boom, right? But what would you do if your husband deleted it?
Oh.
This happened to a woman. Her husband was associated with one of the bands and got an invitation on a Sunday afternoon. He thought it was a joke. So he deletes it, right? Then the next thing he hears from his bandmates who were at the wedding, and of course his wife is, what?
Oh, man.
Why are they there? Not boom.
Yes.
Yeah, does she divorce him or not?
I don't know how you make up for missing all those people.
I think she'll find a way.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a while before it gets a little nookie.
Yeah.
That would be like the ultimate.
Madison Square Garden.
Have you ever gotten close to anything like that where you're just
no.
you were invited to something and you just forgot about it or didn't go and found out it was awesome, whatever? Yeah, I know. Talk about, oh man, she's not going to live that. She bought it. She went out and started spending his money, which I think was good. Fair. And then wrote an article for HuffPost where I got that.
Nice.
They do those wonderful first-person articles about anything that you think is an unusual circumstance in your life. They like to publish them. So
that's cool.
She did that, yeah. But your musical taste. What does it say about your personality?
Oh, boy.
What do you think it would say? So if you like rock music, if you like reggae music, if you like classical music, what do you think it might have a influence on your personality? Do you find people in your life who like a certain kind of music are a certain type of person? Maybe more. I find reggae people are more like whatever.
Yeah, stoners, easygoing.
And classical music?
I don't know any of those people.
Yeah, really.
Actually, no, I do know family members that are into classical music, and I personally find them boring.
Well,
so I don't know if
I
it's a
grew up in a
coincidence.
classical music family.
Are they boring?
Well, I love them.
It doesn't mean they're not boring.
The true. Fair.
I grew up playing my parents' soundtracks to all the stage shows, Broadway stage shows, Camelot, My Fair Lady.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And it must have influenced me because I'm gay. But we were a musical family, right? From the very beginning. My mother tells me a story about conducting in front of the stereo when I listened to Glenn Miller. And I've always had an affinity for that music, for big band music. I wonder where that comes from.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I love I grew up listening to my parents. I'm wearing a Beatles shirt now. I mean, I grew up listening to my parents' music. So that's my sentimental stuff is oldies, 60s
Well,
stuff.
the psychiatrist that they talked to about this article that I got this out of said your personality is the same as your ability or to tell stories. So what kind of stories do you like, right? Because musical taste, they say, is a bit of a story on you, what you like. So if the person likes certain kind of stories, like horror stories, they might be more attracted to something like hard rock, screamo music. If they're a calm personality, they might be more attracted to, first of all, they'd be a little less hectic in their life, and they might like to listen to The Wave. Or something like that.
Is that still happening?
It sure is.
Oh.
It is mutated in this weird form. Check it out, 94.7 in LA.
No, I know, because I know the jingle. 94.7, The Wave.
I know the old
That's
jingle.
what it was. That was, I think,
A little bit of heaven,
in the
94.7. KMET, Tweedledee.
Yes, sir.
That's why we jingle. It sticks in your head.
And researchers have found that personality predicted musical preference over and above demographic measurements. So your personality says more about what kind of music you like. Then your old folks can like screamo music, right?
Yeah.
It's not important,
Yeah.
but that's great. I like finding these things out about ourselves.
That tracks. I like folk
Well,
music.
that way,
I'm a storyteller.
And I watch enough crime thrillers on Netflix to figure out I want to be able to spin it back on the cops looking for me. Is that weird?
I'm always amazed. Young people, like my kids and my students' age, they know multiple eras of music. I mean,
It's
they're
TikTok.
very familiar
It's
with
TikTok.
the 80s stuff.
Yes.
Duran
Yes.
Duran that we kind of made fun of. They're like super into.
A
Billy
lot of stuff-
Idol, my daughter. It's very the breadth of what they're interested in amazed me and exceeded what I had as a younger.
Well, I know my
when I was
daughter got
younger.
exposed because I would hear my daughter singing oldies, and I'd be like, "Where'd you hear that song?"
Yeah,
and,
where?
and it was TikTok.
No.
Was sampling music.
Of course.
From all over.
Well, now Instagram tells you with your video, would you like this song? So that's
Right.
you can learn about other music. I learned
Right.
country songs that way because for some reason it thinks I want to post country songs when I post a picture of Boomer.
You know, my daughter was singing a Kate Bush song, and I
Isn't
was
that
like,
wild?
"What are you singing a Kate Bush song?" And it was on TikTok.
There was a DJ on Friday night at Alder and Sage playing all this great old disco stuff nobody ever plays.
Right.
And I walked over and said, he played a Sharon Red song that nobody would ever know. And I walked up and said, she's a friend of mine. She was. And he's like 20. And I said,
Yeah.
where did you find this out? He goes, my mom left me a crate of records when she moved out of the house. That's something. It's all the way people find it.
Well, I have my parents' records, kind of the same thing, yeah.
And speaking of music,
Yeah, and I've decided based on your story, I'm schizophrenic because I like every type of
You're right.
music
Mike is
except
great with music.
except maybe classical. I'm not, I'll pass on that. But here we go, the Jayhawks and a song called "Keeping Our Heads Above Water."
LBP on your dial. Keep it here and stay a while. The sound of Long Beach, oh so sweet. KLBP can't be beat.
We just heard the Jayhawks before the ID and a song called "Keeping Our Heads Above Water."
It's really great. And also, we want to make sure that you're keeping us in top of mind. So you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube.
Yes.
Where did I leave anything out? Blue Sky.
Spotify.
Spotify as well for the past issues of the show. And we want to let you know that we are also available to any nonprofit out there that wants any attention on the air. You can get in touch with us and send us your information. The mailbox for that is publicservice@klbp.org. And you can even let us know if you have a brilliant idea for an interview, and we'd love to have you on the show. So with that in mind, let's welcome onto the show Ashley Chi. And she is with, is the organization called Spirit of Yo-Yos?
Spirit Yo-Yo Contest.
There we go. And so we were out on Atlantic?
First Fridays.
First Fridays at Bixby Knolls. And I saw this demonstration of yo-yos going on. People were using amazing stuff. And then I found out about you. So tell the audience about the competition that's coming up.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley, one of the organizers of Spirit Yo-Yo Contest. We will be having our second yo-yo contest in Bixby Knolls on October 17th, 2026. So it'll be a large showcase with yo-yo players from all over the world. They'll come out and they have curated performances to music of their choice. And it's just like any other competition. So there'll be a winner, prizes, a lot of day of events.
How did you, is this your event? Are you coming up with this event, or are you participating in something that's larger?
Yes, this is my event. I'm one of the 3 organizers for the event. So I've been in the yo-yo community for about 6 years now. And I've been going to contests all around the world. I've been to Prague. I've been to Japan.
Wow.
All around the U.S. We just came back from Vegas for the National Yo-Yo Contest and had a great time. So we kind of wanted to do something for the community and create a space for the young ones to participate. This could be their first contest.
Cool.
And also participating in First Fridays and other community events to teach
fine motor skills.
When I see it, I can't do it, so I'm fascinated by it. But is this something are you a natural talent for this, or did you learn it?
I learned it, yeah.
No kidding.
So just like anything, it takes practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they always say,
I can walk the dog.
Hey.
with the yo-yo?
In the old day, with the yo-yo. Wow. In the old days, like I used to be able to walk the dog. And then what's the triangle one where you swing the yo-yo in between? Rock the baby. I had a moment.
Wow.
I had a moment, I think when I was like 10, where I was good at that.
Wow.
But I think it's so cool to bring back old toys like that, because look at it, social. She's traveling the world. There are people using their hands for something other than a keyboard.
Yeah, that's really great.
I spend hours learning tricks sometimes, and I still don't even land it. So it's always a new challenge, and there's always new goals for us, especially with starting a contest from scratch.
And you do it to music?
Yeah, you can do it
totally
to
cool.
Whatever you'd like. You can do it in silence with music. A lot of people like to use like dubstep or heavy metal, or some people like a little more chill approach, and they do some just like instrumentals. So it's really just based on your vibe and how you want to portray the art of yo-yoing.
That's great.
That is cool.
This is something that anybody can participate in, and I have all kinds of questions like, where do you go to find someone to teach you how to spin a yo-yo? Is that the right term, spin a yo-yo? Or
it definitely spins. So we actually do have a community group called DXL Crew. We meet up once a month in Artesia. So it's kind of like a club. Anyone can come. It's free.
Wow.
Someone's always willing to teach you tricks.
Community.
It's a really nice community, and I've made so many friends from it all over the world.
Is it like bowling? Do you have to have your own yo-yo?
You have to have your own yo-yo.
You don't bring your own shoes?
Yeah, you gotta have your own. You start building your own collection. You could have a plastic yo-yo. You could have a titanium yo-yo that's up to $300 to $400.
Whoa, who knew?
There's unlimited possibilities.
Well, tell me,
how many yo-yos do you have?
Oh, in this past 6 years, I have definitely collected quite a few. Maybe like 60.
Wow.
That's something else.
Yeah.
In my imagination, I see her unfolding a kit of all these yo-yos and the theme from The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Oh, really? I
She
saw
attempts
them
to
on
challenge the
display
world.
like jewels.
I would display them.
Right, like Indiana Jones.
But for a novice, is there one yo-yo we should begin with?
I would say when you're learning from scratch, it's good to get a responsive yo-yo. So a normal yo-yo, when you throw it, it should come back to your hand when you tug it.
Oh.
But as you advance, you'll end up getting an unresponsive yo-yo, which is a yo-yo that has a bearing that spins longer. And you have to do something to the string called a bind to have it come up. So when you tug it, it won't just come back to your hand.
Good to know.
So there's just there's kind of levels to learning.
Responsive yo-yo.
I know. I was just thinking.
Responsive and unresponsive.
When you say hello to it, does its tail wag?
I know. Oh no, the yo-yo is unresponsive. Code.
I don't know anything about the sport, and I certainly am not very coordinated enough to, at least when I was younger. I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great to learn it and then just like rise?
We can definitely teach
Rocky
you.
story, right to the top.
Well, and I think it's cool that whatever your thing is, that it's something you're not multitasking.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing a yo-yo, it's really all you. Maybe you can watch TV, but you can't. Like, you know what I mean? So you're in that moment doing that thing, which is cool.
You know, that's great. I always thought skiing was the same way. You can't be somewhere else in your mind if you're skiing, otherwise you're going to die.
Right.
It keeps you on your
Yo-yos
feet.
are less likely fatal.
We hope.
I've seen some gnarly injuries from the
No,
yo-yo.
Oh.
I don't
Bonks
know.
to the head
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, wow.
So,
with the titanium.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
There's also different styles too, where you can use multiple yo-yos at once. So there's a 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and 5A, and they all have different meanings. So some of them have 2 yo-yos. Some of them have a yo-yo that goes off of the string, so it's called off string.
What?
So yeah, there's a whole world out there. It's a very niche thing. You got to come out, come learn from us. We'll teach you.
You know where the Expo Center is, right there in Atlantic in the business district of Bixby Knolls, and that's where this is going to happen, October 17th, you said?
Yes.
And there's a whole website dedicated to all the information if you want to find out more. And would you give that website?
Yep. Yeah, it is spirityoyocontest.com.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much,
thank
Ashley,
you.
for coming in. We'll see. Are you going to be out at the next First Fridays?
We will be at the next First Friday.
You guys got to come by and see it.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll teach you how to yo-yo.
That'd be great.
There you
Talk
go.
to the organizers. Put us next to you. That'd be awesome.
No, you can yo-yo to our music.
That would be perfect. I'll ask Blair.
All right, Ashley. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
That's
you.
great. You're welcome. Take care.
Bye.
All right. But speaking of to the music, when I was watching the fireworks this past 4th of July, I thought, why isn't there a radio station broadcasting the soundtrack to this display?
Yeah.
They used to do that.
They used to do it, right?
Yeah.
Who used to do that?
Oh, yeah, like the 1812 overtures.
Yes. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Super cool.
And then I thought there's no other station in Long Beach. Hello, we got to get that together.
Oh, next year.
We got to get
we're
that
on
together.
it,
Yeah,
for sure.
And then people go, well, nobody's going to be on radio to the 4th of July. First of all, naysayers, stand aside because there's an app and you could listen. But wouldn't it be great?
But there's a problem with the app.
What's that?
The buffering.
Oh, the buffer. Well, we'll get some buffer in for it so it doesn't do that.
Bump.
But I think it would be great to be able to sit out there and hear the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you did it with
Somewhat
the
in
radio,
time.
the radio station, if you used the actual radio station,
It won't buffer.
You could sync it up. Yeah.
We could put radios out there.
Sure.
Nobody makes radios anymore, do they?
Well, in all our emergency kits, right? There's all our little dial, like the radios you crank.
Anyway, before we let Kate go, we did want to get into one story. You wanted to talk about that?
Well, yeah, the hookup trailer. Whatever.
This
That,
is the
tell us
poster.
what that's about.
Sure. There's a detached trailer that's been parked in North Long Beach for months. Right now, it's at the intersection of Cherry and Del Amo.
We've seen it.
Yeah, maybe you've driven past it. It's advertising adult hookups, and a lot of folks in the neighborhood have complained. It's currently in the 8th District, so Councilwoman Tanua Thrush Antuk's office has received, she said, about 50 complaints so far, and it's coming up at a lot of neighborhood association meetings. So
Right.
a lot of people who live up there are not wanting to see this in their neighborhood.
Do they object to the fact that it's like rogue advertising or the fact that it's advertising something that's a little seemly?
I think the latter. I think it's been parked on Long Beach Boulevard in the past, which is kind of a known corridor for human trafficking, and something that that councilwoman in particular has put a lot of effort towards addressing. And some folks in the neighborhood just like don't want their kids to be seeing that, don't want that to be the vibe of the neighborhood, especially when those folks are really proud of where they live, and it's even parked right outside a restaurant. I went and talked to the owner, and he said it's bad for business. So
yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
It is affecting folks'
Well, I
daily
didn't realize
lives.
it was a trailer. Just move it.
Plus, I didn't know you could do that. I see a guy doing the same thing. He chained his A-frame, a poster board, to the light post there at Junipero and Ocean about his gym business. And I thought, if everybody did that,
Right.
And the chain is really, the city can't cut it. It's so big. So I'm thinking, come on.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Is there any statute on the books about advertising like that on a trailer? I guess not.
Well, that's a good question, because in 2018 there was a cleaning business that was advertising on their trailers, and the city said they couldn't do that, but they actually took the city to court, and it went to federal court, and the city ended up having to pay $300,000 to the company because they violated their First Amendment rights, the judge found. So I think the city's proceeding a little bit more cautiously now, and the councilwoman who I talked to said, she's thinking about creating sensitive zones around places like schools and daycares, or thinking about other ways to address this, but it kind of remains to be seen what action city leaders are actually going to take, because right now all they're doing is ticketing the trailer for exceeding the 72-hour parking limit. So that's all that's really been happening so far.
Well,
I hadn't made the trafficking connection either.
Yeah, I hadn't made that either.
That's
I was going to kind of make fun of it and ask for the number, but now you
squashed that joke.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that joke alone.
Yeah, well, but please, if there's any update on that, come on back and let us know.
Will do.
But I can understand the city being a little
absolutely.
Who wants to get sued? But gosh. Really? All right. Well, we got to move on. We've got an interview coming up after this segment.
Yeah. Well, we got Margot Price first. Brand new album from her. And this one kind of hits home.
Yes, it does.
It's called The Oval Room. That's Margot Price and Oval Room from her new album. Now we're going to Richard Wagner, who is the radio columnist for a bunch of newspapers.
Syndicated all over. Yeah.
All over. And I have cranked up our old show, LA Radio Waves, which was a podcast we did for 10 years, looking at the radio industry. And we kind of put it aside because there was never any good news about radio. And actually, this doesn't add much good news to this story. But Mo Kelly, who was at KFI, he did evenings at KFI for a couple years. He was recently laid off, so we contacted Mo to talk about the layoff and the hundreds of people that are being laid off from iHeartRadio over the last couple weeks. And it's one of the biggest layoffs in radio history, actually. So we wanted to talk to Mo about that, and he gave us sort of a prognosis of those layoffs and what we can expect in the future. And we let Richard actually ask a question.
And it seems like they're always cutting the people who do the creation, the very ones who could actually change this around.
Well, therein lies the discussion of what creation or creatives will be in the foreseeable future. Publicly, iHeartMedia said that they have a commitment to human content creation. That's what they said publicly. If we look at the industry more broadly, I don't know if they can keep that promise. I just don't know, because we know with the introduction and inclusion of AI across broad swaths of entertainment, AI is going to play a role. I can give you a link to different radio stations or content streaming stations, which are just AI voices. And this is on the heels of, I would say, the consolidation of stations where you're moving out local talent for syndication. We're familiar with that. And we know that the need for local broadcasters is lower than ever before. So there are just going to be fewer jobs for anyone to have on an industry level, not specific to iHeartMedia, but it is fair to question whether iHeartMedia is heading in the direction that they've publicly said that they're heading.
Well, especially when you have stations as major as KGGI in Riverside and others across the country like it that are no longer staffed at all.
That's a great point. And for those who don't know, KGGI 99.1 in Riverside is a music CHR station. So this is not just talk radio. This is music radio. This is another local station which has moved out local talent for, at least for the foreseeable future, syndicated talent. There are fewer jobs to be had. And I don't know if any of the people who've lost their jobs will have a way to re-enter it, because We're all, in theory, looking for the same jobs in the same market. And let's say I was looking for a radio job when I was let go 10 months ago. Well, now there are another 45 different people who are also in that same position looking for these same jobs. And I say it with a smile, but it's actually a frown, because it's unfortunate that many of my colleagues and your colleagues have lost their job with no realistic prospects. There are fewer music radio stations. There are fewer talk radio stations. And we have to talk about the reality of AM radio first, being early 20th century technology. So AM radio is not going to expand. FM is not going to expand in and of what they do and what they provide. And then when you realize you have EV vehicles, which are more and more not including the AM radio band in their cars, and the explosion of cars which have their own internet capabilities, you're at a point where people can listen to whatever they want, wherever that content is being generated from. And you don't have to go through the whole thing of Bluetooth or hooking up your phone. It's getting easier and easier to not either listen to local radio or even have local radio. It's just now audio content.
I'm guilty. When I get in the car, even if I'm listening to an AM or FM station, it isn't on the AM or FM, it's on an app.
Right. And you know, and who can begrudge you? I'm listening to a lot of my favorite local stations on the app. Why? Because I want that HD quality. Yeah. And that also matters. The quality. It's hard for me to listen to, let's say, a Dodgers game on AM radio and all that interference or the lacking signal if I drive in a certain area of town, as opposed to listening to the game on Sirius XM, which I often do because they give you all the sports. That's just where all this is headed.
You mentioned briefly the AI component to this, and AI could fairly easily be integrated into music radio, but how will they ever integrate AI into a talk format? I don't see that happening.
Don't know that it would be talk format in this present conception. Like if you have someone who's going to extemporaneously pontificate on the news of the day and talk about what's happening at City Hall or what's happening on the national scene, probably not that. But in the way that we can track programs for music radio, you can track commentaries using AI, the evolution of what we consider to be a talk outlet may also change. It works as far as news announcement right now. It works as far as new print news generation. There are a lot of news outlets, print news outlets, and I need not tell Richard about this, which are employing AI in the creation of their news stories. Like LA Times many years ago had an AI QuakeBot where it would generate a story immediately after an earthquake took place. And it would give you all the specifics and a little bit of editorial commentary and context. And that was years ago. So that was my sign and indication that we're headed in a direction where at least information dissemination was not going to be limited or only relegated to human input.
Yeah, but you'll never get a show, and I hate to refer back to your show on KFI, but you'll never get a show like that covers a wide variety of things and is all over the board. You used to do everything on that show. The AI is not going to be capable of providing that.
I appreciate that, and I respect and receive that, but I actually disagree with that. Really? If only because if we pass this prologue, and if we look at other industries, if you look at the music industry, if you would have told me 5 years ago that AI just can't create songs out of nothing, there has to be a human inspiration component to it. And then in the course of just doing my show, I'm covering stories where you have these songs created out of nowhere, which are mimicking The Weeknd or Drake and creating songs, complete songs. Some of them even sound good. I'm not going to put a limitation on what can be created. Now, it may change our concept of what is talk radio. I'm sure they can do an AI right now, which can give some semblance of a commentary about stories going on in the news. Is it as inventive and creative as human input? Maybe not now. 2 years from now, who's to say?
All right, that's an interview, a piece of an interview that's going to be part of a podcast. LA Radio Waves. You can find it on Spotify. It may be up already. I haven't gotten to edit it yet, but it'll be up there eventually. We got some big names coming up soon. We're going to have Tom Likas on shortly, and some other big names that we're working on very hard.
I love it. We always have somebody in the house that's talking about radio, keeping an eye on it, and that's Mike and
Keep
Richard.
it alive.
And we can do that here.
Yeah, absolutely. Even our events sort of be radio themed.
Yeah,
we like them to be that way. So thanks so much for
LA Radio Sessions this week is Bill Ward, his July show. So tune in if you can at noon today on Saturday.
That's great. And coming up on Speakeasy.
Speakeasy with Ann Wellman and myself every Tuesday, 9 a.m. For 2 Tuesdays, 9 a.m. We're talking about Gen X stories about ditching. That's what's coming up from a storytelling event at the Wicked Wolf.
That's
so catch
great.
That.
Well, that's it for us today. In the meantime, we got a song to get us out.
Yeah, this is brand new this week. It came out. Death Cab for Cutie. And a Stone Over Water.
We want to say thanks to Kate Raphael from the Long Beach Post for coming on over and being part of it. The chair, it's got your name on it. Actually, it's got John Donegan, but we'll cross it out.
Yeah, we'll fight over it.
There you go. And Barbara Kingsley-Wilson, thank you.
Thank you.
And to you too, the listener.